So Star Wars Skeleton Crew put out its fourth episode out of its 8-episode run. So we're just about halfway through last night. TJ, I will cut over to you first here, buddy. What were your overall thoughts on episode 4 of Skeleton Crew? How are you liking this show so far? And what do you think overall of this episode in the show so far?
So far, I thought, I'll talk about the episode first, and I'll talk about the show as a whole. I thought the episode was pretty good. They seem to be getting shorter and shorter, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I liked how we kind of stumble upon this new planet. Obviously, this planet was a part of kind of the group of planets they were talking about in the previous episode.
Mhm.
I thought getting to see some kids on a different planet and how they're treated and all that stuff was really cool. Obviously there's a kind of war going on between like two factions, it seems like. Although we don't really know what happened to this planet as far as I can tell, unless they said and I missed it, like prior to them landing on it.
No, they didn't. Yeah.
Right. And seeing Neil, and I forget the girl's name. That is Hannah. Is that her name?
Yeah, Hannah.
Kind of their interaction throughout the episode was really nice. And I thought it was kind of cool how they're both telling each other about how their planets work and how Neil is like, oh, we don't have to worry about anything. We, there's food to eat and all that stuff. We don't have to hunt, there's no fighting and stuff like that. But it was kind of like this weird thing when they're talking back and forth. I'm like, it's almost like she might have it better on this planet because, again, on his planet, you just get that vibe of like Big Brother, like dictatorship / everything is fine. Don't worry about, you know what I mean? And it's almost like in his head, he's like, he's been fed this his entire life, and he's 12 or something, his character.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, everything's fine. No, don't have to worry about anything. But it's like, but there's no free will. It's like you're just going through the motion, going through school, and you're gonna go work for what's it called again? The great goal.
The great work.
The great work. And you're not gonna question anything. You're gonna live your life, and then that's it. And there's nothing more to that, which I just thought was interesting. Like, whereas her planet, it's like, we have to do all this stuff, and hey, it's not perfect all the time, but hey, at least we're deciding what we're going to go do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you watch all the season of Doctor Who this year?
No.
Okay. There's actually a really good, episode that is kind of like, reminds me of At Atten, where it's like just all these people in these little bubbles. It's like a VR bubble, basically. Everybody's walking around in a VR bubble, but without the glasses, is basically what it is. And so it's like about getting, he has to get them all out of that to like show them what's actually happening, that they're all in some kind of danger for the episode. And it kind of reminds me of that a little bit, of that kind of community from there. But yeah, I just think it was another really, really strong episode. Really, really enjoyed all the, just the little character moments. Even what's her face, the main new girl. What was it again? Ina.
I just went off that.
Oh, okay, that's whatever the new little girl's name. Yeah, whatever. So I thought that like when she did her little like jump kick to swing into the bus.
Yeah.
And like knock the door over. Like, I thought that was cool just because like that's what a kid would do. She's like, oh, I can do this, so I'm gonna do this. You know what I mean? And then she looks impressive to the other kids and stuff. And then later she does like a little like a baseball slide or like a hockey slide, like to nobody. And I like that element that like these kids feel like kids, and yet they're all written so intelligently that like the mystery doesn't have to be dumbed down so that kids can solve it. They're just smart enough kids that they can solve the problem that the show is giving them. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like other shows that are about kids or something like that, it's like, oh, well, oh, if they weren't a kid, they would understand they could just do this. And it's like, these kids understand everything that they can and can't do. It's just a matter of they cannot get home. And I
Yeah.
like that it's so refreshing that you're not going, well, oh, this is so infuriating. Why aren't they just doing this? There is no like gap in this show of logic to, crack a hole in and be like, oh, none of this makes sense. It's just so well thought out. And I think that the writing is really great across all the characters. I love Jod's, getting down on his knees and just going, you know what? Just shoot me.
Mhm.
It's like, you know what? I'm done.
Oh
Just
yeah, I
shoot
thought
me.
that was
Yeah, that
funny.
was
Yeah.
so funny. He was like, you know what? This is the end for me. I love that moment, and I just think Jude Law continues to be fantastic in this show, as do all of the young performers and everybody else. We didn't get any of the parents this episode, but they've obviously been crushing it too. So I just think it delved the mystery deeper. It brought everything together in a more interesting way. It broadened the viewers view of the show. It broadened the characters view of their lives. Like it did so much in like 35 minutes with not so much with so little, but just so much with so much. It really made it count and feel like the runtime just didn't really affect it for me. So I was really, really happy with this episode. But yeah, again, I think if I have one complaint, it's just that maybe there wasn't as much to this episode as some of the other ones. But it's
Mhm.
because it's a nice midpoint where you've earned a break to kind of stew with the characters. And that's exactly what this episode is. So on that level, I thought it was really, really great for what it was.
Yeah.
And I just think this show also just continues to look incredible.
Ending was terrible. Sorry. I just
What
the
even
way it
happened at
ended,
the end?
it just like the robot was, or the droid was going to attack Neil,
Yeah.
and Jude Law came and unplugged it, and so the unpowered robot kind of fell like right above him, and he blacked out, and they were like trying to wake him up, and they're like, oh, he fainted, and then it just went to credits. It was like the most random, like I was like, is it
I
supposed to be
feel
like
like
a cliffhanger or something?
I
Like
feel like I remember it ending on just him like blacking out,
yeah,
but you must be right because obviously I
but
think
yeah,
you watched you watched it earlier than I did. And I watched it after a long shift at work, so
right.
I was kind of like out of it. Um, so yeah, I'm definitely gonna rewatch the episode for sure. But yeah, I mean that's happened in a couple of the Disney Plus Star Wars shows where like it just ends on a weird beat. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Where it's like what like literally if you had ended 5 seconds earlier,
Yeah.
and it sounds like it's really just one of those where it's just like
Yeah.
why leave that in?
Should
No,
have
just
ended
get
it
out of
when
there.
the droid was attacking him.
Yeah. Although
And then
I
you come
did
back,
love
oh,
the
Jude Law
moment.
saved him, you know?
I did love the moment though with Jude Law where where he goes, he's like, nobody ever goes for the power switch. Like
Yeah.
I did think that was funny, but maybe you just ended on that. Maybe you just ended on nobody ever goes for the power switch. Or I think you just literally 5 seconds. I think you just he falls down on Neil and then that's the end of the episode. Like
Right.
that, you know what I mean? It's like because then you're still going, oh my god, just leaving people with the oh my god, what's gonna happen next? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what's important for a show. And that's a really good example of where you're literally talking about the difference of 5 seconds can really
Mhm.
color your view of a show.